Welcome back to the Dream Hub podcast, the space where we explore the boundless world of dreams, uncovering insights that fuel personal growth, healing, and creativity. I'm your host, Melissa Johnson, and today we're diving into an enchanting journey that bridges dreams, mythology, and self-discovery. My guest is the brilliant Susanne van Doorn, psychologist, dream therapist, author, and the mind behind Mindfunda. Susanne is known for her transformative work in dream symbolism and archetypal exploration, and today she's here to guide us through a fascinating tradition, the Holy Night's Journey. This is a 12-day dream-inspired exploration steeped in mythology and Jungian themes, offering participants an opportunity to connect deeply with their dreams during this sacred time. Susanne, it's such a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Melissa. It's a joy to be here.
Now, let's start by setting the scene with a bit of a story about your personal inspiration. I want to know about, the beginning, the heart of it all, because you've been hosting the Holy Night's Journey for over 15 years. So I'm wondering what first inspired you to dedicate yourself to creating this event year after year?
It was a nightmare, and that nightmare really shook me up. In the nightmare, I'm from the outside looking in, and I'm looking into a hospital room. And in that hospital room is a really skinny guy, around 20, and he's strapped to the bed with a black ribbon to prevent him falling out. And at the moment that I see him in my dream, I see a doctor on the outside who does go inside with the intention of killing this poor guy. And I must confess, I was reluctant to go in myself to rescue him because I was afraid that the doctor, who was big and strong, was going to kill me as well. So I stood outside in terror, fearing that I would have to watch a slaughter of some innocent guy. But when I looked at the room again, I saw that the bed was empty. And I was so relieved and so proud that that guy was so clever, even though he was very ill, to have escaped his doctor. But where did he go? Because there was not many places to hide under the bed. We could have seen, me and the doctor could have seen him instantly, so that wasn't the place he was. And he wasn't in the closets as well, because they were all closed and too small for him to hide in. So naturally my eyes went upstairs to the ceiling, the white ceiling, and there I saw a shade. He had hidden behind the ceiling. And I was so relieved. Such a clever guy, wow. But at the same moment that my eyes went upstairs, I managed to catch the look on the doctor's face, who followed my gaze. And when I woke up, I knew, just like you can do in dreams, you just know that that doctor was going to finish the life of that guy. Now, this was during the period of the Holy Nights. I didn't know about it then, but soon afterwards, I got a mail from a Dutch dream person who said that he and his lady were going to go away for the Holy Nights to celebrate that in peace and quiet and receive as many dreams as would visit them. And that's when I said, I really have to look more careful at this dream. Is there something with my lungs? Is there something with my health? Because there was a doctor in the dream, and being chronically ill, I really have an eye open for dreams about health. And nothing. And interpretation that I gave for myself, that the doctor was my ambition and that I wasn't ambitious enough, and that the poor guy strapped on the bed was my creativity and I didn't give enough room for my creativity. Well, those were all things that I already knew. And what's wonderful about dreams, Melissa, the fact that we love dreams so much is that they show us something we didn't know already. And I couldn't find that in this dream. So fast forward to the month of May, my father was suffering from Parkinsonism, and he had that really Parkinson look, that skinny. And at that point in time in May, he was taken into hospital because of a lack of oxygen. And I visited him, and the second time I visited him, the doctor was absolutely not like the doctor in my dream, told me and my mother that it was very severe, that my father was suffering from an infection by a resistant bacteria. And so there was no cure. And we had to acknowledge, say goodbye, and give him the best ending. Oh, this sounds terrible. Give him the best ending, just give him a proper goodbye. So I called my family, and they arrived. And when he was ready to go, I was searching for him, like I was searching for that guy in my dream. He was there in bed, just like that guy, all skinny, all wrapped up, so he wouldn't fall out. And he wasn't there anymore. And at that moment in time, I looked into his eyes and I wondered, are you still there? And there was nothing. And so my eyes wandered up to the ceiling and I wondered, are you there? And that's when it hit me. It was the dream that had prepared me for this goodbye and a new phase of life. And the doctor in the dream that wanted to kill the guy was the resistant bacteria symbolized in my dream as a doctor. So as a cure, as a way of getting out of this. He had a really good life, but the end of his life, the Parkinsonism, was trapping him. And so, we always hope that we can change lives, and I really believe in it, but this really came across as it is fate. It is something that needs to happen this way with no escape, because my father loved life. And I'm sure that he wanted to continue to live, but his doctors at the hospital said, well, his life isn't so meaningless now because he can't walk anymore, he can't do anything. Let's please, they didn't ask us permission, but they said, we can save him. And that dream really, really prepared me for that goodbye. And it still gives me the comfort of knowing that he still is there behind the scene. I may not see him, I may not notice him, but he's still there for me. So that's a pretty profound dream.
That's huge. Thank you for sharing that. And first of all, I'm sorry about the loss of your father. That would have been hard. And I do find it fascinating how the dream was preparing you and even showing you that consciousness goes on beyond our body and getting you to look up and see if he was behind the ceiling. And I remember hearing you explain in that dream about how happy and excited you were when you realized that the man was hiding behind the ceiling. So I hope that that
Yeah,
feeling
yeah.
carried through. Yeah. Thank you for
And
sharing.
how about you, Melissa? Have you had experienced dreams around Christmas time where you thought, that's really a different dream than in other periods of time?
I don't know. I would have to go back and look into my dream diary, and now I'm going to be extra aware of it considering the time of year that we're
Yeah.
coming into. So I will have to get back to you on that one. So you've described the Holy Night's journey as an alternative Christmas story that aligns with Jungian
Yeah.
archetypes rather than traditional religious narratives. Can you share how, the famous figures like Mary, Joseph, the wise men, became archetypal mirrors for us to explore our own inner world?
Yeah, because it's an ancient story and it is stuck with us for so long for a reason. And that is because we recognize some of the figures in the story as archetypes, as universal patterns that we all carry within us. And for example, I start with the birth of the light, and that is that light, that small, sometimes big light within our divine inner child that is carrying our inspiration. And it comes to us, and we have to, it not only comes to us, but we have to search for it intentionally in dark periods like Christmas or during, for instance, moments when you feel lost and depressed. And that birth of the light, that inner child, really needs to be protected, and it needs to be protected by a solid anima and a solid animus. And in the Christmas story, Mary is the anima, the conceiver of this new idea, this new way of thinking. That's how I usually interpret the birth of a child or pregnancy in a dream. It's a new way of thinking. And there's an angel involved as well. The angel comes and tells Mary, the child is going to be something really different. And that is a connection with the unconscious, the collective unconscious. So that is carried throughout cultures. And so it's the anima that conceives this new idea, this creation, and so that's Mary, and Joseph, the animus, who has to give it a practical uitvoering, a practical. I lost the word. How to put it into daily practice. You have the divine inspiration, but you have to do something with it in the waking world, and that's what Joseph is about. Because when in the story, when Mary tells Joseph she's pregnant, he thinks, how am I going to solve this? Because for a young girl to be pregnant and marrying somebody else, well, that was something that really wasn't approved of for centuries and centuries, unfortunately. But what happens? He struggles, like the animus is logic. Logic struggles with creativity often. And so he struggles and he thinks, I'm going to send her away. I'm going to send her away to the mountains. So nobody will care, nobody will know. And then she comes back with a baby, and then we just say it was a premature birth or something. And it's a nice way out of it. And in the story that I used for the Holy Nights, Mary goes along with it. She says, well, okay, let him figure out this a way out of this mess, because she says, well, okay, Joseph, I accept you. I'm glad to be your wife. We'll do it your way. But that night, after a day of struggling, that same angel comes to visit Joseph. And he tells Joseph, you got to really hook up with this girl and not leave her alone, because together you are going to raise a child. It's going to be very important for the both of you, and not only for the both of you, but for everything around you. So in my eyes, that's a description of a perfect inner marriage, where your anima, your creativity, has an idea, and your logical side says at first that, I don't think so, because this and that and that. But then, when you surrender to the process and start to look for possibilities, that is usually a way that opens up. When you give up the struggle and just surrender to the process. So, for me, that is a perfect description of the Jungian process of the animus and the anima and the inner marriage. And there's another nice thing I would like to say about Mary, because I really liked Mary. I was raised Catholic, and with all due respect for people who are Catholic, I really didn't care much about Christ, but I did care a lot about Mary, because Mary, in my eyes, was nice, and she was understanding, and she was a mother. So when I was a little child, I used to talk to Mary all the time when I was lying in bed. But in the story that I share in the Holy Nights, she spins the veil that covers the temple. And in the Bible, when Jesus died, that curtain tears apart, breaks down. So in that way, birth and death, death and birth are related in such a beautiful way. So those are the first 2-3 nights of the Holy Nights. And then we continue with the Star of Bethlehem. And the Star of Bethlehem, there is an astrologer. He's called Rick Larson, and he's got a site, Star of Bethlehem, and he proposes that the Star of Bethlehem actually existed. And it is an hypothesis that is disputed, but it's a very charming idea that it was Jupiter, the planet of the king, with Regulus, the star of the king, and Virgo, the Venus, the star of the queen. And in that period of time, around the year 6, that Jupiter and Regulus and Venus were in conjunction, but Regulus, the star of the king, and Jupiter were retrograde. So the king seemed to approach and go back, and approach and go back, and he proposes that is what the wise men saw and felt was so unusual that they had to go out. So that's a nice theory that I do not necessarily support, but I thought it was really nice to mention it, and I used the book From Afar, written by Roger Thomas, who also leans on that hypothesis. Now, the Star of Bethlehem, in my eyes, is something that really leads you. You have that inner spark that's really leads you, yeah, that's what I'm going to do with my life. And then the Star of Bethlehem is synchronicities along your path. And a synchronicity is more than just a coincidence. It's a meaningful coincidence. For example, if you had just decided to change your life and go a different direction, and you keep on seeing signs or hearing songs about taking a different path, or reading a book about it, seeing a book about it, all those little tiny thumbs up from the greater universe. So for me, that is the Star of Bethlehem. And it is the light that guides us, but where there is light, there's also darkness. And in my holy nights, the darkness is represented by King Herod. And King Herod was a client king of the Romans. And he was not a nice guy. He murdered all of his family in history. So he represents for me that part of myself that really is out for power. And I invite that night people to think about who rules the scepter in my personality, because you have different personas, different aspects of your personality that play a role and that take the lead. But how are the power dimensions in my own personality? Is there a persona that rules too often, that maybe I should ease down on a bit? Maybe I should say, okay, well, I'm out for power sometimes, and that is needed. So accepting the shadow and the dark part of yourself, no matter how difficult that is. You know, because we all are, I let me speak for myself. It's for me, it's very easy to say about somebody, well, I don't like this, I don't like that. But then I have to think and say, but that is also inside of me as well. Okay, now we're getting somewhere, because wisdom is within and not without. And after we have gone to connect with the shadow, we need to go back from the heaven to the earth. And we do that by the shepherds. The shepherds are something that isn't in the book that I used, but it's something that I introduced because I missed a few things. I missed female wisdom, so I introduced the 3 wise women, and I introduced I used shepherds to represent the earth. Because we are talking about the guiding star all the time, but we need to balance that with the earth, with the shepherds who are outcasts in society, but who use the starlight, not as the wise men who use their knowledge of books, but who use the light of the stars just for practical navigation and to see where the grass is and to see if it is safe to sleep there at night. So it's not the book wisdom we embrace there, but it's the earthly wisdom, the connection with Mother Earth. And, you know, then we shift then to another night where we embrace the 3 wise women, because the 3 wise men are the scholars, but there should be women in the story, and there is even an Italian pastor who is deceased. I don't remember his name, but he proposed that the Magi were a group of people, not 3 wise men, but a group of people, including women. So I really wanted to incorporate that story about wise women, because it was very important to me. It is not all that guy stuff. Let me introduce some female wisdom. And they, in the story that I share, they tune down the grandiose gifts that the 3 wise men want to give. And one in the story I share, one wants to give a lion while his wife says, "Whoa, that's a bit dangerous for a little child, isn't it?" So they just represent the more practical type of things, not that all intellectual stuff that the three wise men represent. But those three wise men also represent our different stages of life and the aspects of our psyche. And Gaspar, the youngest one, in the book of Roger Thomas, is a soldier. And in that way, he represents Logos, because he has thought and is trained in strategical thinking, because they have to fight with a group of people that want to kill and rob the caravan. And we as people who put down the Christmas table do not realize that those men really had a very dangerous journey, and caravans were very easy prey. So there are a lot of soldiers, and Gaspar is the leading soldier who strategically thinks ahead and plans ahead and devises in that way a safe road, and he scans the environment just like Logos does. But Balthasar is the middle-aged person. He represents the mythos because he's a spiritual person, and he has been searching for the right religion for him in all kinds of religions and in all kinds of places, but never found one that truly resonated within his heart. And each time he was disappointed, and each time he went away. Now, Balthasar, he represents middle age, and he gives the gift of myrrh. And myrrh is the thing that is used to prepare the death. And in that way, he symbolizes the bridge between life and death that you have to begin to embrace as soon as you reach middle age. And you know that life is going to end, and you really need to accept and embrace and celebrate the fact that you are getting older. So that is what Balthasar stands for in My Holy Nights. And then you have Melchior, and in the book From Afar, he is the teacher of both Caspar and Melchior. And he is in that way the Phoenix, the wise old man. And he gives frankincense, and that's, you smoke that, and that smoke is the bridge from earth to heaven. So in that way, it's the symbol of our transcendence, the connection between the earth and the divine, and in that way is also the connecting point between the logos of Caspar and the mythos of Balthasar, because he connects them as being the teacher, and in that way they have a central point. So also that book is very, very nicely written and very beautiful to read. But then we enter the final night, and everybody meets, and it's the divine and the earth, and a moment of transformation for all. Because this night, Caspar knows that he doesn't want to fight for causes that are not near to his heart. He until that moment he only fought because he needed money. And now he knows that he is going to fight not to hurt people, but to protect them. And Balthasar knows now that his belief, he should not find the outside of himself, but inside. So not all those beliefs that he became a priest in the story, but just to look inside of his heart and to find his belief there. And finally, you have the transformation between Melchior, who touches the baby, the old man, and the young child who connects, and they come together as a circle, the circle of life, from from young baby to old man. So that's in short the story of my Holy Nights this year.
Wow, that's amazing. I really like these concepts. And yeah, it's really fascinating how every single little aspect joins up with, the archetypes and the story about everything coming from within. Yeah, I really like that. Thank you for sharing. So, the dream incubation aspect of your program is particularly intriguing. Can you tell us a bit about how that all works?
Yes, I have an audio incubation. When you sign up to Mindfunda on your phone, you can click on audio incubation. You can put on your phone and you can lie in your bed. And I start out with a relaxation exercise where there's a soft music, and I start to count, and I said, breathe in, hold your breath, breathe out, until people are relaxed. And shall I read one? Because I've have one here, and I'm glad to
Yeah,
to
sure. I'd
share
love
it
to
with
hear.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's the second incubation from Mother Mary. And I'll start after the breathing exercises, because when you relax, I start my story. Imagine yourself lying down under the stars near an indigo blue river. The sound of the water is mesmerizing. The sound flows away from you, looking for new adventures. Beneath you is the green grass. Above your head, the crescent moon. And between the stars is that one big, bright star that sparkles and shines. One ray from that star shines down and touches your stomach, like it has chosen you. This night is filled with magic. In the starlight, you see the face of a woman reflected in the river. She wears a long white robe and a light blue mantle. Her head is covered with a white veil. She puts a vessel in the water, pulls it out, and places it on her hip. She turns around and looks at you. You sit down. When your eyes meet, your hearts connect. You know her as if she is a part of you. You stand up and walk towards her. You just want to be near her. You feel how love flows into your heart like the waves of the gentle river of life. You are ready to receive the nurturing presence of Mary. She blesses you with peace, protection, and wisdom. You allow this feeling to fill your mind and your spiritual bottom from top to bottom. With each breath, you release tension and receive clarity. You feel embraced by divine love. Let go of any need to control or understand. Trust your anima, your female guide. Mary stretches out her hands and gives you a red feel. When you touch this feel, its softness and warmth fill your heart. You notice how your heart bounces in tune with the pulse of the universe. You enjoy the feeling of unity with the cosmos. The awareness fills you up. It starts in your head, streams down through your neck. It reaches your chest and pours down into your belly. There it circles around and curls down into your legs, leaving your body. In touch with the earth and its challenges, you feel grounded. Mary watches this process and smiles her beautiful smile. She reaches out her hands again and now gives you a purple veil. As soon as your hands touches it, she whispers, "You are ready." Trust in yourself. The veil raises a spiritual energy in your body. It flows up from your feet, streams down through your legs, circles its way through your belly, rises up to your chest, and opens up your heart, goes upwards through your throat, and arrives in your head. Now your attention goes to your third eye. The purple energy opens up the curtains that have covered your third eye. You can see how everything is connected. Every cell in your body feels part of the universe. You take a moment to enjoy this awareness. Mary has awakened your inner vision and higher consciousness. Now you see beyond the material into divine realms of eternal truth. Now hold the red and purple veils together in your hands. Feel the connection between your earthly journey and your spiritual awakening. They are two parts of the same whole. Let this understanding settle in your heart as you prepare to dream. Tonight you will dream about Mother Mary. She will guide you to significant dreams. You will remember your dreams and wake up with a clear understanding of the message your soul has for you.
Give me a moment to come back into the room. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
I can see how that would really impact the dreams that you would have.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's also wonderful to write them, because when I have worked, it takes me about a week to work on a night, and after that week, I started to take long walks and just get different scripts in my head, and then I start writing, and sometimes everything changes when I'm writing, and sometimes it just flows. So that's also a lot of fun for me to create those incubations.
That was gorgeous. Thank you. So dreams often feel deeply personal, yet your program encourages people to share them in a community setting. So I'd love to hear what's the significance of mutual dreaming and shared dream themes in fostering connection and spiritual growth.
Yes. I haven't really encountered people who meet each other in dreams, but something that happens every year is that themes are picked up, because everybody, and that is so much fun about the Holy Nights, everybody is projecting their meaning on dreams of others, and by that receiving the dream of another person that is really, really meaningful and really contributes to the feeling of unity. And so I haven't really detected much mutual dreaming, but there is a common dreaming themes that emerge throughout the 12 nights. And what you say about, I think you said something about, your question was also about archetypes, because the dreams are personal and archetypes are universal. So, for instance, if you dream about your mother, at first you give your personal associations, and that are things about your childhood and things that she represents to you. But when you want to also see if a personal symbol also has an archetypical meaning, you need to take a step back and consider, what if my mother doesn't represent my biological mother, but if she would represent a goddess, the mother goddess? How, in this perspective, can I look at the dream in a different way? Because that is the, in my eyes, most attractive thing of dreams, that it encourages you to shift perspective and look at things at multiple different ways. So seeing something not personal but also archetypical, I would say, for instance, everybody dreams about their parents. What if you interpret your mother as the archetypical mother, or your father as the animus, the archetypical father? And in that way, people can enhance the meanings that they attach to their dreams. And it's beautiful.
That is beautiful. What a great way to look at it. We live in a world filled with constant stimuli, deadlines, and distractions. So why do you think a spiritual journey like the Holy Nights is so valuable in today's modern world?
I think that's because of all the stimuli we have in social media. It is so important to just invest half an hour a day in yourself and in your own developments, your own spiritual growth and personal growth, because you learn a lot of history as well in the Holy Nights. And I think it grounds you for the year. And the fun thing is that each month I go back to my dreamers and ask them, well, you dreamt about that and you dreamt about that. What happened in your waking life? And we start to compare. So maybe this symbol that I dreamt about, that has manifested in the waking world in that way, means that. And in that way, people who have participated for multiple years really start to build up a personal dream symbology book.
For anyone listening who might be curious about joining the Holy Nights journey, what can they expect to experience or learn over the course of these 12 days?
Well, I start with the introduction, and each day you read a blog, and it takes about 10-15 minutes. And each night you listen to the incubation, and that takes about 10 minutes maybe. I must say this year the first incubation is really long, that's why I didn't read that. And that's a trip to every astronomical sign, because each month of the year is attached to an astronomical sign that has a challenge. And so in the first night I go over each sign that has this specific challenge. But you tune in, and preferably in your bed with your phone, push down the sound button, plug in your ears so not to disturb your partner too much, and listen. And there's some nice relaxing music that you just missed because I just read, but the text that I read accompanied by some really nice, relaxing music, and then you get the story and you can imagine that, and you have a safe way to fall asleep. And not only do I suggest that you remember and understand your dream, you also have the group. And it also encourages people very much to understand their dreams. And when you work with dreams about 12 nights, 13 days, people really pick up again on their dreaming abilities, and sometimes they have lost it. So that's also a very nice thing about the Holy Nights.
It sounds like you've got everything covered, and yeah, it really doesn't take that much time out of your day if you consider, swapping some social media time to read a blog and then just listening to that as you fall asleep. And it's really nice you've got the group there for support and communication. So, for listeners who might be new to dream work or archetypes, sometimes diving into Jungian concepts might feel a bit overwhelming. You did a really great example of explaining the mother archetype there, but how would you suggest someone start recognizing and working with archetypes in their own dreams?
Well, the first thing I always suggest is to take a step back and to see if there might be an archetype hidden in their dreams. Because one thing that is important, and that is to interpret it the way you interpret it. Because nobody understands a dream better as you do. But to look at your dream journal and to search for symbols that recur on a regular basis, and to see if that could have an archetypical meaning. And archetypes are things that are carried within a culture. There's not only a symbolic meaning, but also a cultural meaning. And I just gave the example of mother, but you can also have the example of the Salix, the wise old man. And we are going to try to touch upon that energy in our Holy Nights. And Melchior, who finally finds that all his reading and all his teaching finally comes together when he's there at his inner light, at this young child, and he sees himself reborn and his knowledge reborn in a new sense of hope. So that's the tip that I want to give: to reread your dream journal and be alert to symbols that recur on a regular basis, because that can point to an archetype.
That's a great tip. Thank you. So when someone is new to working with archetypes in dreams, are there any common missteps or misconceptions that you've noticed?
Well, I think that a common misstep might be that you just give your own meaning, and by doing that you miss maybe deeper connections. And that is why having a dream group, or having that's why having a dream group is so important, because you get more opinions, and sometimes even somebody interprets a dream for you, and at that point in time you say, okay, thank you for sharing. And later on, when you reread it, sometimes years later, you say, oh my God, that was really, really deep, and I didn't see that. It's also very important for people who start with dreams and dreaming to realize that even though their own opinion matters very much, it's very, very fruitful to share dreams with others. For instance, if you don't have a dream group yet, with your partner.
Yeah, I strongly agree with you on that one. I think some of my best guidance has come from having other people look at my dreams. And, maybe we know the basis of what it is, but other people's perceptions and projections can be really helpful. So you shared a very deep and moving dream at the beginning of this episode, and I would love to hear if you have another dream that has been particularly profound or meaningful in your own life that you would like to share while you're here.
Yes, I had luckily a very practical dream. And there was a short dream with a very clear message that I should take my car to the garage. It was very short. It was a voice-over dream. And Melissa, those voice-over dreams, they tend to make a deeper impression on me. And I think on most dreamers. Those voice-over dreams. So when I woke up, usually me and my husband share dreams. And I told him, I had this voice-over dream that told me to take my car. In that period, we both had cars. And I had to take my car to the garage to take a look at it. And my husband said to me, I think that's a very good dream. And you should certainly do it, because when I drove your car last time, when I touched the brakes, I heard them. And that's not good. You shouldn't hear brakes when you're braking. And so I listened to his advice, drove to the garage, and they said to me, "Oh, you're just in time because your brakes are about to go broke. Your brakes are about to go broke." Are about to deteriorate. So good thing you're just here on time. So that was a very profound dream for me that I was very thankful about. And there's also a voice-over dream. And that when I woke up, I heard a voice say to me that I was part of the court of Camelot. And I said back to the dream, because, I talk back. I said back to the dream voice, that Camelot is a bunch of weird guys chasing after women. I'm not really concerned about Camelot. But, I dove into the story of the 12 Knights of Arthur and found out that Jung had said that was the mythology of Europe. So I became very, very interested. I even took my family to England to see if we could trace back the steps of King Arthur, and visited the castle of Tintagel. And it was really, really nice. And I had created the Holy Nights about the 12 Knights of Arthur.
Wow, that's amazing. I love dreams that give practical advice like that.
Yeah.
About the car. And I love that you talk back to the dream as well, just to get a little bit more. That's wonderful. So for someone listening who wants to try dream incubation tonight, besides them signing up to Mindfunda, can you walk us through a simple exercise that they could use to connect with a specific archetype or theme?
Oh, yes, it is. You can try to use the principles of dream incubation, and that is that you really set a question or a theme that you want to dream about. I've noticed with me that themes work better than specific questions. For example, if you want to dream about your health, it's a common dream incubation question for me. Is there something that I need to know about my health? And you take some time during the day to really get into that question, write a bit about it if you have some time off, and walk. I always found that while walking and thinking about a specific theme you want to dream about, that encourages you to really get into that question and dream and remember to dream about it. So a question you'd like to explore or a theme, and engaging with that theme during the day. And before you go to bed, you set the intention while falling asleep. I'm going to dream about this and that, and I'm going to remember and understand the dream. And the following morning, when you wake up, write everything down. Even if you wake up and say, well, I haven't dreamed anything, write that down and wait what comes next. Because maybe you've got a remembering, you remember something. Or sometimes when I'm in the shower and I haven't had a dream recollection in the shower, when you're really relaxed and enjoying the warm water, and then, oh yeah, that was what I was dreaming about. So these are some practical tips for dream incubation.
Thank you. That was great. I love how you talk about focusing on it during the day as well. So yeah, that's really wonderful. Now, I was talking about your website just 2 episodes back, I think it was. I had Christian Jericho on, and he was, he's got a blog on your website.
Yeah.
So I'll just spruik it again for the listeners. If you want to connect with Susanna and learn more about the Holy Night's journey, you can visit her website, mindfunda.com. I will put a link below in the podcast description so that you can just click on it and it will be easy to find. Susanna, this has been such a rich and inspiring conversation. The way that you weave dreams, mythology, and archetypes into a modern day spiritual practice is truly captivating. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all of your wisdom with us.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Melissa. It's been wonderful talking to you.
Yeah, it's been really mind-opening. I've really loved all of your stories today. And all right, dreamers who are listening, that's all for today. And as you rest tonight, think about the archetypes that resonate within your own life story and how they might show up in your dreams. Until next time, keep exploring your inner world, and remember, your dreams hold the answers you've been searching for. Good night.